Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with Circworks, and this is Fan Art Friday. And today I am going to be working on some Star Wars bounty hunters. And this is part of, well, one, it's Fan Art Friday, like I mentioned, but it's also, I'm doing Inktober this month, which is something started by Jake Parker, where you take, I guess, one day each day of October, so 31 days, and make an ink drawing. So at least for the first half, maybe not half, but the first portion of this this challenge, I've been doing some Star Wars bounty hunter fan art. So as you can see, I got, well, I'll show you some of these here. But here's the deal. I had filmed this earlier. I guess it was last week, because I wanted to get a jump start, because I just finished my 100 days and I'm trying to just take a little time off. So I wanted to get this video in the can, and for whatever reason the video cut out on me, and just in the beginning, like a little intro, it cut out, and actually the whole computer shut down on me, which kind of freaked me out. So I opened it back up and the video was there and everything. The beginning of the video looked fine. I watched it, and I just kind of continued from where it cut off. And so I was going to edit this video, and for whatever reason, it just, the editing software won't recognize the beginning that I filmed, because it said the file was corrupt, which is weird because, you know, like I said, I watched it and everything. So anyway, so I'm just going to kind of go over what I was talking about, I guess, a little bit in the beginning, which is kind of just an intro of some of the, I just showed off some of the pieces that I did, and then I started on one in particular, and then I will just cut over to that video that I filmed. So anyway, yeah, excuse me. So like I said, I just wrapped up my 100 days of making comics, and I also took all the files, all the 100 days. If you're familiar with that, or if you're not familiar with that, that's where I was taking 30 minutes each day to work on my personal comic book project, Young and the Dead. It's kind of like Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead. It's a kids versus zombie comic. So anyway, so I wrapped that up, 100 days, 100 videos, all that. So I compiled all those videos into a playlist, and I also went and kind of labeled them, because throughout posting the videos, I would put a description of what the video was about. But I guess you don't really, and this is when I was just getting started with YouTube, and you don't really see those descriptions when you're just looking at the video. So I put a little tiny description on each one, so there may be some in particular that may appeal to different people or whatever, but those are all available on my YouTube channel in the playlist. So yeah, you can check those out if you like. Back to Fan Art Friday. So here's Boba Fett. This is the first one I did. And I actually did this one a little while. I did this one last year. You can see the 13, the year on there. And I kind of just like the style, so I always kind of wanted to return to it. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. So here's another one. Here's Bosk. And I apologize, you can't, just because of the angle of the camera, you can't see it all at once. But another Star Wars bounty hunter. Dengar. There you go. This is IG-88. And this is Zuckuss, and this is actually the one I'm going to be that I'm going to be finishing up, which here you can see the finished one, because like I said, I had to kind of go back. So now you're seeing more of what you actually saw in the first video, because I hadn't actually got to these particular characters yet. So this is Forlom, another droid bounty hunter. This one is sort of a bounty hunter. It's the Princess Leia disguise as the bounty hunter. I think it's Boosh. is the, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, there's a, and then of course Greedo, which was, the first bounty hunter we saw, and he totally got shot by Han Solo, and Han Solo shot first. So, so yeah, there's some bounty hunters for you, and I'm just gonna flip right over to the other video where you kind of see me starting to ink the Zuckuss character. So yeah, I'll see you in a minute. Hey, my computer just shut off on me, which is kind of scary because I haven't had that happen before. Just shut down in the middle of everything. So hopefully that was an isolated incident. Um, but anyway, so I'm going to attempt to try one more time. I don't know if it has to do with all the videos I've been filming, but I thought I had, plenty of space and everything on my computer, but so I don't know. I'm going to attempt to do this again. So I don't know where I got cut off. I think I was talking about, growing up with, just the allure of these Star Wars bounty hunters. And even before Empire Strikes Back came out, um, if you collected the toys, they had an offer for a Boba Fett action figure. And prior to that, the only time anyone had ever seen anything about Boba Fett was in the Star Wars Christmas special, which is infamously bad, but it did have a little Boba Fett cartoon in it. But they offered the action figure if you would send in, like, I don't know, it was how many proof of purchase seals from the back of your Star Wars action figure, you can get one. So yeah, I mean, did that, and was also, there was I guess sort of it was an urban legend or a controversy. I don't know if it's true or not, but that originally he was supposed to have a firing like jetpack, missile jetpack, and they, I guess somebody had, a child had choked on the missile, but I'm not sure if it was the actual Boba Fett toy that somebody choked on. Well, probably not, because it wasn't even really released. But I think the Battlestar Galactica toys, they had little ships and they had a similar um, kind of firing mechanism. I think that might have happened with that, or maybe some other toy. But anyway, so it ended up that the Boba Fett action figure, when it shipped, it didn't have that firing missile, which most of us kids were kind of bummed about. But anyway, so that was, kind of our introduction to Boba Fett. And then after that, they did another kind of action figure giveaway for another bounty hunter, Bosk. And so it was these, two bounty hunters that, I mean, Boba Fett had some screen time. Never mentioned his name once in the movie or anything. I think Return of the Jedi, they mentioned his name, but yeah, he was just referred to as bounty hunter by by Darth Vader, and the other ones you hardly even saw. But even though you didn't see them on screen that much, still they were hugely popular as far as the toys and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was interesting. I'm sure most of you, if you're around my age, you probably remember all that stuff. But if you're not, it's, like I said, it's a little interesting story. This guy's got a really cool kind of design to him. He's looks like some sort of bug-like creature. Now there's also another character, another bounty hunter called Forlome, which, again, going back to the action figures, if you're collecting these action figures, this guy here that I'm drawing was, as far as what the card said and everything on the action figure, his name was Forlome. And later, and the other character that's similar to him but that's more like an android was called Zuckuss, which is this guy's name, I guess. It's very confusing. But from what I understand, somewhere along the line, they figured that Forlome sounded more like a name of a droid, which the other guy was, because it has the number 4 in it. So they decided to switch them around, or or um, possibly that they had the name wrong when they did the action figure, and it was supposed to be that way all along. But it was just kind of a weird thing. And I was talking to somebody online on YouTube and talking about this thing, and it's kind of interesting because we were trying to figure out what the name was. So finally, I just did a Google search on Wikipedia, and you can look if you go online. If you look at the action figure, the old action figures, you'll see that this guy's name is Zuckuss. But if you search Zuckuss, you'll see. I mean, this guy's yeah, no, this guy's name was Forlome as far as the action figures, but everything else you'll see is if you search Zuckuss comes up with this guy. So interesting to just change somebody's name, you know, somewhere along the way. But yeah, it happened. But yeah, I think this guy's got a kind of a cool character design. I always like all these little tubes and weird things. Those are fun to draw. And it looks like I know in the prequels there was a character. Was it I think Plo Koon? It was like for whatever reason that was one of my son's favorite characters. But he had kind of these his little things coming out of him too. So I was wondering if he was part of the same race. But when I looked back, they're quite a bit different. But I think the idea, if you look at the other character Forlome, the droid, he's kind of got a similar head as this guy. So I think whereas C-3PO was probably modeled after the more human characters, um, that the Forlome droid was probably modeled after this race of people. Kind of like if you look at, they did this in the prequels where the battle droids, if you saw those bug creatures, I think they were called Geonosians or something like that. They kind of had these long heads, and and they were the ones that built the battle droid. So you can kind of tell that, and it makes sense that if a human's going to build a robot, they probably would model it after a human. So if an alien race is going to build a robot, they'll probably model it after themselves. So I'm pretty sure that the other character, the Forlome character, is a droid that's kind of modeled to resemble this particular race of people, which I googled, and I think they're called Gans, I think. If you want to get really super geeky, you probably know all that. I don't know a whole lot about the expanded Star Wars universe, which I heard right now isn't really relevant anymore because J.J. Abrams isn't taking that into consideration with the new Star Wars movies, which I guess there's an outcry from some of the fans of the um, expanded universe, which I guess you can understand that, but didn't really bother me just because I don't want them to tread ground that's already kind of happened. That was kind of one of the problems with the prequels is for the most part, you knew everything that was going to happen. So they didn't have any like, super, you know, spoiler type, uh, what's revelations like Luke, I am your father, that type of thing, because you kind of knew everything that was going on to begin with. So um, that's something that the prequels definitely lacked. Um, so I think if they try to follow, and that expanded universe was just so convoluted because you've got all these different you know authors and artists and things doing their own stories. It just you know I agree with Disney's decision just to do something totally new. So that's my opinion. But You may have a different one, and that's fine. But yeah, I you know I want the new Star Wars to kind of be something that I haven't seen rather than retelling something that already exists in like a novel or something like that. So we got this little pouch thing here. I wonder what this guy's feet looks like because he always wears this like long robe. But I'm not going to draw his feet, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much. He's got these kind of like claw hands. Maybe his feet are similar to that, but it just looks like 2 fingers and a thumb type deal. And these kind of these gloves that he wears over them. But yeah, I'm trying not to follow, and I guess J.J. Abrams is pretty good about not being pretty secretive, but I'm trying not to even think about the new Star Wars movies too much because I mean, when I first heard about the prequels and everything, I was just so excited, and then like a lot of other people, you get kind of let down when they actually came out. So although I like what he did with Star Trek and everything, I'm sure I have a feeling he's going to do a good job because it took I think it took the prequels to kind of get a lot of things. I don't know if I want to say wrong, but I don't, at least for the fans of the original trilogy, I just don't think it was what we were hoping for. So I think now knowing all the criticisms in hindsight, I think it's easy to avoid some of those problems. So, and no matter what, you're never going to please everyone. I mean, but I'm definitely excited to see them. I just don't want to think about much about it, you know. It's like when I first heard them announce that they were going to do a Star Wars Episode 1, I mean, that's all I was like, oh, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And now I just like, well, they'll happen eventually, and I will go see them probably opening night, but I'm trying not to concentrate too much on about it. But we'll see if my opinion change once we see the first like teaser trailer or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how soon that would come out. Would that be? That couldn't be like this December. I don't think they would be ready for that soon. I don't know. Maybe. Usually that's when. Does it come out? I think it comes out 2015. I don't know. Maybe we might see something. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think you know. I think like most artists or most people, you kind of have this love hate relationship with Disney. Um, you hear some of the practices and stuff like that, and you're like not too crazy about it, but the products that they produce and everything. And I think they've done a real good job with like what they've done with Marvel and just kind of you know they buy these properties, which in a way it's kind of scary because it's like pretty soon they're just going to own everything. But it seems like they're willing to let they're more interested in just earning the money off of like whatever it's Pixar or Marvel or the Muppets or whatever, and just kind of let them kind of stay kind of what they were, and let the people that were probably involved originally work on them and everything, and not step in, and not too much studio interference, which always is just destroys other you know movies and other superhero franchises and things like that. But it seems like Disney seems to be a little more hands off. Like We bought these because we know they're going to be super profitable. And in order to make them super profitable, why don't we just let some of the artists and some of the people and people who actually love these properties do their thing and do them the right way? And I think that's why Marvel is so successful, because Disney could easily step in and say, no, we want you to do this and that, but they don't. So at least they haven't so far. So we'll see. And I heard interviews that, you know, J.J. Abrams, he wasn't a huge Star Trek fan, which is kind of why he agreed to do the movie in the first place, because he was like, because I didn't care as much about it, it was easy for him to do his own take and not worry too much about it, because, or I don't know. I don't know the thinking behind it, but it was something along those lines. But with Star Wars, I guess since he is such a big fan, um, and I think he's gonna, I trust that he's gonna stay true to, you know, what's kind of the original Star Wars was all about. But we'll see. I'm also anxious to see. I've been watching some of the Clone Wars cartoons because I didn't watch them originally just because, kind of my attitude towards, I guess, the prequels and everything. But, and it took a couple seasons of me getting into it, but it seems like it's really starting to get interesting. And I've heard a lot of people just saying that it's a really great series. So I'm gonna stick with it and see kind of where we end up. But I'm liking it. I'm liking a lot of these mini storylines and seeing some of these characters that were, that you really didn't get to see a whole lot. Um, and this new series Rebels that's coming out, I'm anxious to see that too. But I don't really have cable, so I don't know if it's something I can watch online or not, or if I'm gonna have to wait for it to come out on DVD or whatever. So I get the basic, kind of real thin lines. Like if you look here, like inside, I usually try to do really thin lines, and then I'll go darken the outline, and then pop some shadows and things in it. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. I don't know what I'm going to do with his eyes. If I should make them like black with a little white. I wonder if I should do that first. Circles can be difficult to do with a brush, but I don't think these are that critical that they're perfect. So I'm just going to throw a few of them in there. I don't want to do every single circle because it's kind of like with these bug eyes, it's kind of like where the light hits it. So I'll keep it like that. And then I might do them black. I don't know if I want to do the eyes inside black or the actual circles black. We'll see. All right, so let's start going over this thing with a little thicker line. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be able to tell the difference between me using the brush on this and what I was doing with the micron pens, which I think this way is probably going to be a little quicker, just because I can get a better line weight with those microns. If you want to get a variation of your lines like on this one, you just kind of have to constantly go over it, and that can be kind of a hassle. So, and I forgot, because I do typically use a brush, but I forgot why I opted for the pen. Maybe it was because I was doing more mobile drawings, just instead of, it's kind of hard to take a thing of ink around, but you can. I mean, I've got the Pentel pocket brush and everything like that too, um, which I use a lot. But for whatever reason, I think for the other ones I just decided to go with the microns. Maybe it was just a change of pace, or I was trying a different style or something like that. I don't know. Now these ones, as you can tell by the other drawings, I'm not going to add really any backgrounds. These are just character designs, you know, just kind of. There's been so many different versions of these Star Wars characters in general, so I don't know if I'm adding anything new that hasn't really been tackled before. Hopefully, you know, I don't know. But I'd like to, if I ever have time. I'm always weird about like fan art stuff. I don't like to spend so much time in it because it's not really something that I want to profit a lot off of, because that's kind of a weird like gray area. So I don't typically do, I don't really do prints and things. Sometimes I'll sell these originals, but um, so I don't know if I'll ever get around to like coloring them, but I might do it just for fun. This is originally I wanted to just color them and line, when I get finished with them, line them all up next to each other and have kind of one of those, you know, lineups where you see all the different characters in the series or whatever. And see that outline kind of helps pop them out a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what I'm going to do after I finish all these Star Wars bounty hunters for the Inktober drawings. I don't know if I'll do more Star Wars characters or maybe some of the other bounty hunters um, that weren't kind of on that kind of scene from Empire Strikes Back. Like there's the Princess Leia bounty hunter that she was disguised as. There's Greedo. I guess he's technically a bounty hunter. And then there's a bunch of other ones um, from what do you call it? The like the prequels and everything. So now I'm starting to add some of the blacks in here. This little mouthpiece that he has. I always wonder when the artists create these things if they know exactly what they are, or if they just throw them in because they look cool. Because he's got these whatever kind of tubes. I assume these are part of his body. From what they look organic from the pictures I've seen. These tubes that come down. Um, but this thing here does not look organic at all. So maybe that's some kind of retrofitted thing to help him breathe, or I don't know. Or it could just be a fashion statement. You never know. You know, it's like as humans, we wear sunglasses partially to keep the sun out of our face, but a lot of times it's just because they look cool. You know. Let's see. I got a little something at the end of my brush. I'm trying to get there. I think I cleaned it up. So I'm going to add a little black here where his head's coming down. And definitely in his gun, you know, we want to get this kind of gunmetal black in here. Let's see. Hopefully this should be wrapping up pretty soon. I'm actually supposed to be going somewhere. I just looked at the clock, but it's not like a super. It's not something that I have to be there right at a certain time, but so I wonder how many other artists, other people out there may have found this video through the Inktober hashtag, or who actually else is doing this Inktober thing. It's something I've always been aware of for a while, but I haven't participated just because October is usually crazy because I've got so many like family birthday parties in October, and then I usually go a little nuts on Halloween. This year, though, I usually get together with a friend and we do some like crazy decorations and stuff like that. But we're gonna do it at his house. He's gonna do most of it. I still have to help him with some props. We did a pirate theme last year. I think we're gonna continue on with that theme. But what sucks is in his yard he had this real old, like kind of freaky tree, and for one thing, it kind of blocked the street light that was by his house, and it just kind of looked cool, and we could hang stuff from it. Like we had a cage with a pirate skeleton inside of it and everything. But the last storm that came through blew the tree down, so now his yard is like a little less freaky, and we've got this big bright street light to contend with. So we're gonna see if we can kind of create some kind of a tarp or something that we can put in front of the street light to kind of block some of the light, but we'll see. But that's coming up, coming up soon. So anyway, yeah, I usually really get into Halloween, especially with costumes and stuff, but this year, yeah, I don't know if I'll have any kind of crazy elaborate costume. It's just a little too much for this year with everything else going on, and got some pretty busy with, some jobs that I'm working on and everything. Got a game design project and a comic book that should be starting pretty soon, which is always good to have work, especially coming into the holidays. So I'm just kind of adding different places where we might see some shadows here. Getting close to wrapping this guy up. He's kind of, I think I'll just put some little ticks and things in here just to show that his, because he's a bounty hunter, he gets kind of dirty and everything, so maybe some little, just to show that nothing major, so it doesn't look too clean, Alright, so I think I'm gonna fill in his eyes. I think, because we don't have a whole lot of black here, so. Oh wait, that was way darker, way thicker the line than I wanted, but. Just want the hand to kind of pop up a little more. And let's go ahead and start filling in this black. I think that's gonna really help make it pop, and just finish off this drawing. And I gotta go. So yeah, still trying to think, what do I want to do after? I don't know if I want to keep doing fan art stuff. It's fun to do, and obviously it gets a lot more response than my original work, but I'll probably split it up. Do some more original stuff, some more fan art, because people can tend to find it, because they'll search, like if I post this picture on, say, Instagram or whatever, people search Star Wars, or I don't know how many people are going to be searching Zuckuss, but like definitely for when I did the Boba Fett one, people are searching Boba Fett, because there's a lot of Boba Fett fans out there. So people tend to find it more that way. So, and then never know. Some people might find it from this and then see some of my original stuff and like that too. You never know. Oops. Ooh, I thought that was going to smudge there for a second. Almost there. Hopefully you got that. All right. We're going to be adding this to my group of Star Wars bounty hunters. I've got, like I showed you, I got the IG-88 one that I still have to ink, and then I've got to draw 4 loam, and that'll do it for the Star Wars bounty hunters. So let me I just want to do these side by side to kind of make sure that they they look like they kind of belong to the same kind of style and universe, I think. Obviously his head's a lot bigger, but then again, he's a big bug alien guy, so let me do hold on. Let me do one more thing, and that's just to sign my name. And that'll wrap this guy up. So this is Zuckuss, part of the Star Wars Bounty Hunters Inktober drawings that I'm doing. We'll see if maybe I'll film when I go ahead and do IG-88. I don't know if I'll do him with a brush or with some micron pens, because he's a robot and he's got a lot of straight lines and things like that. It might be easier to do him with a brush. I mean with a like a micron. But anyway, thanks for joining me. If you like these videos, feel free to subscribe to my channel. That would be great. I'm working on a new show that it's a new drawing show, and I've got my 100 days of making comics. All of those videos are up there for you guys to check out if you want to watch 100 days of me going through the process of making my comic. And yeah, I'll continue to do these fan art drawings and other sketches and everything. So there's a lot of stuff to check out. So thank you for watching this, and I will see you guys next Friday, or sooner than that, depending on if you're watching other videos. See you then. That is all.